World Cup fever is here and sweeping across the world. And with that comes a perfect opportunity to grow your online engagement with your social media channels. But keeping up with all 104 games and all 48 teams is going to be a full-time job, especially when you now have to turn each game and each team into an engaging social media post. But the good news is, we've got you covered. In a previous video, we showed you how to build an automation in Make Automation that tracks the games from Google News and crafts social media posts covering it every hour. In this video, we're going to show you how to build a similar automation in n8n. Let's get to it. The first thing we're going to do in our n8n workflow is add a schedule trigger to our workflow. And we're going to use this to kick off our workflow every 25 minutes. That way, we can provide updates on matches as they happen, or just regular updates of events throughout the day. We know 25 minutes is a pretty long time, but that's for the purpose of this demonstration. You can pick a time interval that's much better for you. For our next step, we're going to add the HTTP node to our workflow. And we're doing this because we're about to make an API call to a third-party service. Our service in question is going to be Dumpling AI, and we're going to be making a call to the search endpoint. This endpoint allows us to search Google News for any relevant information we want. In our case, we want to use it to search for the latest World Cup news and matches, preferably as they happen. As you can see, there's a lot going on here in this docs, but we're going to walk you through setting this up step by step. The first thing we'll do is copy the URL endpoint in front of us and head back over to our HTTP node to paste it there. Let's not forget to change our call from a GET request to a POST request. The next thing we'll do is add a header to our call, and to do that, we'll head back over to our docs to find out what those headers are. Once we do that, we'll head back to n8n and put them down. For our authorization, we're going to head over to a previous automation we've built and copy our bearer tokens there. Now we can add our body. If we check our docs again, we'll find a bunch of parameters we'll need to add in order to get our endpoint to work as designed. While we've got a mandatory parameter, like the query parameter, everything else is optional. So we'll add 2 extra parameters. The language parameter, because we want our responses in English, and the date range parameter, because we want to fetch results from the past hour. Our endpoint's working perfectly fine, and it's giving us results for FIFA World Cup from the past hour. Now we can move on to the next step. For our next step, we're going to want to scrape the content of the URLs we've just fetched from Google News. Luckily for us, Dumpling AI has also got a scrape endpoint. And just like the previous endpoint, we're also going to show you how to set this up step by step. We'll start by duplicating our previous HTTP node. We don't want to set up our headers all over again. We're going to switch our endpoint to the scrape endpoint. And just like before, we're going to head over to the docs to find our parameters. Like the search endpoint, we've only got one mandatory parameter, which is the URL parameter. But we're also going to add the other parameters, like the cleaned parameter, whose value is going to be yes, and the render.js parameter, whose value is going to be no. Before we execute this step, we want to specify that some of the URLs we fetched from Google News might not be scrapable. If our workflow was live right now, we'll eventually run into an error. To mitigate this, we're going to head over to our node's setting and set up a sort of error handler, allowing this node to still execute regardless if it gets an empty output. Now that we've done that, let's execute this node and see our results. Our scrape endpoint is working as intended, so we can move on to the next step. Up next, we want to turn our scraped content into a social media post. To do that, we're going to use an AI agent. Now, you can use ChatGPT, Grok, or Llama, but for our demonstration, we'll be using Anthropic's Claude. We're going to use the Haiku 4.5 model, and for our prompt, we're going to have Claude summarize our web content and turn it into an exciting social media post. Our execution has been successful, and we've got our social media post. Now we can move on to our last step. For our last step, we want to be able to actually send our generated social media post to any of our social media channel. To do that, we're going to add the official PostPulse node, and we'll use the schedule alight post action. The first thing we're going to do is set up our schedule mode. We're going to set up our posts to go out immediately, not scheduled for later. So every time our schedule trigger kicks off our automation, it'll end with our posts going out to social media channels that second. We'll pick the social media channel of our choice, and we're going to map our generated social media post from Claude to our content field. Our final execution has been successful. Let's head over to our PostPulse dashboard and check out our post. And there you have it. We've successfully built an automation in n8n that searches Google News for the latest World Cup news and matches, turns them into social media posts, and immediately posts them to our social media channels. This was another fun video to produce, and we hope you've enjoyed it. If you're interested in this automation, comment World Cup n8n, and you'll get this automation as a template. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.